be. And it was during that time that we got taken to the netball courts, and my mom asked, well, one of my aunties at the time, she was May Tudiro, so she's a life member of netball PNG. So she was there, took us under her wings, my sister and I, and then we took up the sport. So we started in her club. It was during that time when we were transitioning, well, after our dad passed away. So it was during that, like, I think, um, crucial moment, or, life-changing moment for us. Um, and then that's when I started school as well. So, netball, it's for taller girls. So for myself, I'm quite tall. So when I started primary school, and you can imagine, I was a tall girl in primary school, and oftentimes I got bullied. So I got called out, not like physically bullied, but just this name calling, which I just, I didn't like, but I had no choice. I had to still go to school. And then I got to netball, and netball is where they were like, "Oh, you're good. You're a nice tall girl. We're looking for tall girls there, for this sport." I think this is where I found my safe space. Netball provided that for me. So after I got there, and then you get the attention, the praise from your coaches, telling you that you could do something one day. I also had an older cousin that was playing the sport, and she was like the top goal shooter at the time. So she was like my role model at the time, growing up and getting into the sport for the first time. So it was through there, I started playing the sport, and then at 16, I got my first international. So we got invited to go to Fiji to attend an international tournament with other clubs around Fiji and also Australia. So that's where I had my first international debut. But the year after, that was my first actual international tournament representing Papua New Guinea. Auntie Vetu was our coach, and we went to the Pacific Games in 1999 in Guam. But it was during that tournament that I played against this Fijian. So if you go back and if you Google her, you'll know. Her name's Vili Minor. So she was a huge, probably 190 centimeter goalkeeper. So I just told myself the goal for that game was to get one shot in, because I was a shooter, and get a rebound. I said, because she's tall, if I'm lucky, I'll get one. So that was my goal. So after I did that, once I got one shot in and a rebound, I said, this is my sport. This is what I want to do. And we got flogged. I think it was 99-5 or something. We were all brand new squad. It was our first international tournament. I think, but people would think that, wow, you got flogged. I mean, we got humiliated by the press here back at home. They were like, you got flogged, what's netball doing? And I think for me was, I just said this was motivation. I was like, wow, so I got to travel to another country. So besides playing a sport that you enjoy, you get to travel and see other countries. So I think that was my motivation. And from then I just, said I want to be part of this, and I just stuck with it. So from 2000 and 1999, I was in the squad. I think two memorable moments for me would be, so in 2001, we went to the Mini Pacific Games in Norfolk Island, and we had never beaten Cook Islands. So it was during that game, we were all level, and then I scored the winning basket just on the buzzer. So that was one moment that I will always, and no one can take that away from me. So we won that game. We beat Cook Islands, Papua New Guinea Cook Islands, for the first time at a Mini Pacific Games. And that was, yeah, one of the memorable moments. And the other one would have been in 2015 when we played here in Papua New Guinea on home soil. Your family doesn't get to travel with you to attend these international tournaments with you. But then during the Pacific Games, I had my two kids there, my family, my mom, and all my extended family on my dad's side and my mom's side. Got to watch my sister and I play on home soil. So that was, I think, two most memorable moments for me. Yeah,
Wow.
thank you.
Wow. When you're talking about being tall, it's a blessing when you get that height, and just because I've been to PNG a lot, and not everybody
No.
He's blessed with height like you, Lua, you know, but I'm sure it's a design from above for a certain specific purpose in life, and you're using it for the very reason why it's given to you. So thank you so much for sharing that. Nelson, when you win those the gold medal and the medals that you receive in these some of these games, and obviously you have to stand on top of the podium and you hear the national anthem played. Can you describe those moments being a representative of your nation in these games? Can you describe to us that moment? You know, you're holding the gold or the silver, the song is played. What was going through your mind?
Like Lewis said, I think one of the highlights was 2015 Pacific Games, and then that's definitely one for me also. The Pacific Games, 2015 here in Papua New Guinea. In front of our families, our loved ones, our friends, our community, and everybody that followed us as fans and supporters, just follow us, with us in our journey in our sports careers. And that 2015, I'm pretty sure Lewis attended a couple of Pacific Games too. But yeah, for me, it would be the 2015 Games, and to win, in front of our home crowd, to win in front of our kids, especially for me, in front of my kids was a special moment. To get up to the podium, and the national anthem, came on. Sense of pride, a sense of unity, a sense of oneness, bringing everybody together in that one moment. And, you get to be that person that delivered that moment is such a special thing. It doesn't happen, that often in life. But, when you get to those moments, you treasure them, you cherish them for the rest of your life. For me, to get up to the podium at the 2015 Games, with the gold medal around my neck, and the national colors on my body was something that I'll never forget. It is one of the greatest moments of my life, and representing my country, whether I get paid or not. It is the greatest honor that I can ever go through with, and it was something special. It'll live with me for the rest of my life, and I know Lua will have the same sentiments here.
Wow. Like somebody said, I'm not doing it for the money, but for the glory. And
God, God.
yeah. And Lua, what about you? I don't know whether you have some games where your team won some medals, special moments where your family were there, the national anthem was played. Can you describe that moment and the feeling and what was going through you? The reason why I'm asking is you guys have worked hard to become who
Mm,
you have become, and it's not an easy path.
mm,
It requires a lot of sacrifice, a lot of discipline, a lot of getting up early and going to sleep late. But when those moments happen, you just seems to like, yes, it's
yes.
worth the price you paid. And you may
Yeah.
have had people that didn't believe in you. You have
Mm,
doubters. You have people that challenge you. You may haven't been challenged by your own mindset. But then,
mm,
you reach a pinnacle in life in your pursuit of this dream where you stand there and you go, I did it. This is a moment that I will take to the grave with me. Lua, can you describe one of those moments, please?
unfortunately, I don't have many gold medal moments. But I think when you attend a tournament and they play the national anthem for the first time, I think for me it just brings me to tears. I think because often they see sports people as privileged, like we have it easy. But like you said, they don't see the struggle, the hard work, the discipline that's gone through just to get us to that moment. What everyone sees is just you standing there with the national anthem being played. So I think for me, it's also a privilege to be representing my country out of 8 million or 10 million people that we have in the country. I'm one of those people, or 12 of we're in a team, so there's 12 of us. We've been chosen for this purpose, for this time to represent our country. And I think for me, the thing that comes to mind is you're representing your family, You're representing the people that have supported you. You're representing the future, like the kids that are coming. So it's just we have a responsibility as ambassadors of our own country in the sports that we represent. So it's important, like our conduct. So I think for me, it's all about that. It's just we are role models. So how we portray ourselves, how we behave, it's really important. It's much important than how we perform on the court or on the field.
Agree.
It's what we do outside is also important. So I think for me, those are some of the best times. It's just listening to your national anthem being played in a foreign country or even at home. You just get goosebumps, and you don't. You just appreciate where you come from. Coming from Papua New Guinea, and you appreciate the struggles. Because sometimes you're looking at your opponents, and you know that they come from probably developed countries, so everything is fine. While then you look at your teammates, some of you are okay, while some of your teammates probably where we come from different backgrounds. So it's just for that time, at that moment, it's special for all of us that we get together, stand together, and represent our country as equal on that sporting stage. So yeah,
Wow.
thank you.
Wow, that give you goosebumps when you guys are talking about that, because that's from your heart, and those moments are real for the both of you. Um, Nelson, when did you reach a point where you realized that this has actually been given to you, not for yourself, but for others? And I can see here that you run your Nest program. You're the director of Nest program, and the program is obviously affecting a lot of youth and communities that you're working in. You're building leadership, and you're providing training on how to work in a teamwork environment. You're driving social inclusion and healthy lifestyles, creating sustainable long-term impact through strategic partnerships. When did you reach the point when you said, you know what, this is not just for me, but this is a platform that I can create something to give back to the youth, to give back to my community, to give back to my country? When was that point, and what was that thought, or whatever that idea was that was dropped in your soul that sort of pushed you in that direction?
There are a couple of them. I'll try to stay up a few of them, probably one or two or three, but most likely two. For me, after the 2015 games, I came back home to my community, and in front of the house, about 50 meters away from the house, we have a field right now, and that field was like a dump area. It was an eyesore. You had sewage water coming in. You had all the wreckage of stolen vehicles being dumped over there. Trees were growing wild, as if it was like a jungle. And everything was just worse in that field. It was like, and again, it was like an eyesore to the community. So I stood there and, still at the peak of my powers right after the Pacific Games. And, I said, and every year, my community was inspired with what I went through in the Pacific Games. And so I said, look, I said to myself, I got to do something to give back. That really hit me hard when I looked at the field, and I said, look, if all the young kids and the youths are inspired with what I just did at the Pacific Games, I need to continue this. Someone needs to go on a similar pathway like me. And it doesn't need to be athletics. It can be rugby league. It can be basketball. It can be netball. They have to find a place, and the only place that was available was our field. That was almost like a dump area. So I gathered the youth one Saturday, and I said, look, hey, I bought 2 packets of scone, 2 cans of tin fish, and I said, and a powdered fruit drink. So I said, look, I can't buy us, drinks or something like that. So we just mix the powder into water, and then everyone can have a drink. So I gathered all the youth one Saturday, and then we started working on the field. The whole community and the surrounding communities were surprised and say, hey, look, who's doing this? They thought like an NGO or a government organization or a corporate company, whatever, just decided to come in and clean the field. But no, it's Nelson. And with all those youths, you know, and the pictures of it on social media that I keep on putting up, you know, from time to time to remind people that, you know, it can be done. So I got everyone, all the youths, we cleaned up the field, and then I said, look, okay, I got to start up a rugby league team. And then I was looking for names to start, and then I thought about myself, and I said, okay, Nelson Stone, yeah, probably N-E, Nelson S-T Stone. I need to find a meaning to it. And I look back at my career and how I came from the struggle, you know, from the struggles that I went through and all the hardship that I went through. And I said, look, something needs to pop up. I need to come up with something. And I said, why not Nelson? N-E stands for never ever, and S-T, which stands for stop trying. And then I called it. One of my favorite best friend was always be following me everywhere. And I said, hey, look, let's start up the Nest Rugby League club. And they said, why not? And then we never had second thoughts. You know, we went for it. We started the Nest Rugby League club, and you had all the youths from the surrounding communities to different suburbs that came in and said, hey, look, you know, the Nest Rugby League club is run the coach of the team is Nelson Stone, and everybody like, boom, they came in. And then we used to feel, and then, you know, we got all the youths. I'm telling you, my community is one of the most notorious places in Port Moresby. From that moment on, in the late 2015, it was at the back end of the year. So many youths that came in and joined up the club, and then I had to teach them everything that I've gone through, why and how I became to be what I am today. And this is what taught me, and this is what, you know, gave me the experience. And then they were all inspired. And from there, the program, the Nest Rugby League program, produced our current SP Hunters captain, which is Ila Alu. He's the current captain. He came out right from the program. And then some days, most times,
Sorry, Nelson, I don't mean to interrupt, but the current captain for your national team
is our premier rugby league team.
Okay. Oh yeah, okay. Came from your program.
It came from the program. The captain.
I needed to highlight that. That is absolutely a success story. I'm sure there's more. I just want to underscore that.
Yeah, so he came out, and then, you know, everyone said, what? This is Ila now, and yeah, he's one of the most famous rugby league players right now in our country. Yeah, thank you. And from there, we produced a lot of our semi-professional rugby league players who came straight from the dump field that we've transformed it into a playing field. And currently, our rugby league program, and you know, we were producing that, but we never won any competitions. And you know, other rival clubs and communities will be like, hey, look, you know, you guys are producing, but you guys never win any competition. And so we started the program in 2015, and just last year, 2025, we won one of Port Moresby Premier Rugby League competition last year. After 10 years without a trophy, we won a premiership, and the whole community, you know, it really got everyone's attention. Yeah, from that's one of them, and then as the years went by, in the early 2020s, my brother passed away, my only sibling. I'm the only one now. We're two in the family. So he passed away due to, you know, his, what do you call, I gotta find a way to put it together. Yeah, I gotta respect. He passed away due to taking too much of, you know, chemical substance with, you know, sports supplements, I would say, and that caused his it declined his health.
Yeah.
He lost his life.
Wow.
So from there, I said, okay, look, I gotta come up with a health and fitness program that could help save lives, so that I can advocate, you know, athletes and sports people, so that taking supplements is not the only way that will make you. And I've never been, to be honest, in my career, I don't take those things. So I wanted to, you know, emphasize that and do awareness of staying away from those supplements. Though I know it helps, enhance performance. But look, if you have God, that's your supplement right there.
Come on, Nelson, let's go. I love
Yeah.
that. If you have God, that's your substance right there. Sorry, your supplement right there. I love that.
Yeah.
There's some quotes, there's some things that people say it deserves to be underscored and highlighted.
Thank you.
I'm gonna write that down in my Facebook post one day, and I'll say credit to Nelson.
Thank
Nelson,
you.
so keep going. This is amazing, Nelson.
Yeah, no, and then like I said, from there I decided to start up the health, sports and fitness program, and a lot of people again from the workforce to some of the elites in our country, even the grassroots are taking up the program, not just to be fit, but to be mentally, have some mental clarity, mental strength, to take care of your family, and to go back to the society healthy and fit so that you can, lead properly in your family, in your society, and to not only to be the fittest person, but to be a better person. And that really can inspire a lot of people in your community, in your family, and that's what happened in the program. And I'm really grateful, and I thank God all the time. All the time, you'll never shy away from that. Yeah. So that's how the Nest Health and Fitness program is going. And the Nest Rugby League Club, it's now a Nest program. It's been going on for more than I'd say more than 10 years. Even I started in 2015, but it was estimated in 2012 that I started all those things here. But giving back is something that I will do until to my last breath.
Oh wow, Nelson. Uh, I'm sure Lua is feeling the same way as I'm feeling, listening to you and many others that are listening. Just the heart and your passion and your love for people. There's a scripture that comes to mind when you're talking about Jesus said, "If a seed remains alone, if a seed does not die, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces many seeds." And my interpretation is sometimes in life we become successful, but then if we don't look at what we can do for others,
Exactly.
we're just a standalone seed. But if we almost dissolve ourselves in the life of the community, our family, so they can be better, it's almost like we die that they may live. That's
Exactly.
what I'm hearing from you. It's a seed that dies and is producing many seeds. And look at the young rugby league player who's very famous right now that have come out of your program. I'm sure there are many other famous people that have come out or about to come out from your program. Nelson, oh, I love it. It's amazing. Lua, it says here that you the head coach. I don't know whether you're currently still the head coach of PNG National Netball Team and a national leader and also a leader in sports and development. I suppose your journey is similar to Nelson, where you reach a point where you realize, hey, I can reproduce myself in others. And I'm sure coaching is your way of giving back and being a leader and a lot of the things that you're doing here and currently. Can you just talk to us about what is it like to become a role model and empowering others around you and across the nation? I'm sure your reach is even beyond PNG. You mentioned something about Oceania here. Can't wait to hear your impact story.
Thank you, David. I think, well, my sport is a team sport, so um, I can't, play the sport on my own. But I think for me, when I started my netball career, I always felt that it was important that I went back and gave back in my club. So I started, I was with, like I said, I was with Antivator's club when I started, and then I moved to another club, which was a family club. And then I think it was in 2010 or something. And then we left that club. But before that, they had junior players. So you had under 10s to under 21. And then during that time, we didn't have a lot of coaches. So every time we travel or when we were in the squad, we'd go back to our club and we would help out with coaching. And it was during that time that we did that. So throughout my netball career, I'd always go back and give back in our lower divisions or in our junior divisions, coaching, especially what we learned when you go and travel and play in international competition. Just bringing back those small skills, new skills that you've learned, and try and impart them to the junior athletes. So that's what I did. And I think it also helped me with my netball. So like when you go back and teach a skill, you have to get good at it, or you have to be good at it before you can teach someone. So I think when I was teaching a young girl how not to step, that also helped me. So stepping was something that I mastered. So I didn't do that when I was playing. So I think for me, that was how it was. So throughout my netball representative career, I was still coaching, but at the club level. And it was when I retired in 2017 after the Mini Pacific Games in Vanuatu. I think coaching wasn't something that I wanted to do then. So it was just maybe like I was still involved in the club, coaching at the club level, but not like nothing to do with at the national level. And it was during that time, you mentioned about developments. It was during after Pacific Games, and I think I owe a lot to sport because they, opportunities have come. I've gained opportunities from being in that sport. So it was after the Pacific Games I got approached by an NGO, Water Aid. They were just developing their sports for development program, and they were going to use the sport of netball, and they were looking for people that would go in and be the coordinator. So my name got put forward. I got interviewed and I got the job. So that's where I got my first encounter with development. So I never knew about development. I think growing up, like Nelson, doctor, my dad was a banker. So that was something maybe I was going to get into business or accounting. But then through that job opportunity, I learned about the sustainable development goals and the goal 6, and the main one, which was a program that I was with, Water Aid. They focused on goal 6, which was water and sanitation. So like Nelson, I was going towards the end of my career, 2015, like towards the end. So I was thinking, what else can I do after sport? So I was fortunate I had this job. And then I started using the sport of netball to talk about the importance of hand washing with soap, because Papua New Guinea at that time in 2015, we didn't meet the indicators for the medium-term development goals, especially around wash and water, around water, sanitation, hygiene. So it was good getting into that space. So then I got to know about development. And it was through Water Aid that my passion for development grew. So after that, 4 years with Water Aid, and I just thought maybe I should challenge myself. I've done sports for 17 years, so do something else. So that's when I applied for the Australian Awards to do my master's in international development practice, because I think working with Water Aid, my passion for development grew. I got to learn about other areas that I could contribute to, like education and health, and then that's where I think with Water Aid it cuts through that. So washing schools, washing health centers was something that I'd come across in my role with Water Aid. So I thought, having that degree, I could go back and give back in development in those areas. So yeah, that's where I got to. So I was fortunate to get the scholarship, and then went down to Australia with my 2 years. And then after that, when I was completing the opportunity to be the head coach, the national head coach had come up. So my name got mentioned, and they were asking if I'd consider it. And I was going to be coming back home. So I just said, okay, well, I don't have anything set up for myself yet. I'm going to be just coming off study. So I said, why not? So I put my hand up. I think for me, being in the sport, and when you're in the sport and you're successful, like your team's doing well, there are a lot of questions are asked. So what happened? What's, we need more of, they should be still playing, but I mean, my body is like, no, you need to stop. You can't. I said, you can't do it. So it's hard.
I agree.
So that's why I thought I'll put my hand up. I'll give back. I come back and like Nelson share what I learned in the 17 years to the girls that are, aspiring to make the national team, and just to come back and, tell them that it's hard work. I think some of the kids these days, they just, they're into the fame, what they see, the end product, but they don't realize the work that needs to go in, and it's not overnight. You don't get it like here instant, and it's not 1 or 2 years. It's actually a lot of work, and it's just so that's what I've been doing since coming into the role, is just encouraging the girls is if you really want this, you got to be committed. I think our challenge, especially for young girls nowadays, is it's not safe, and that's the reality of it. So as a coach, is got to be mindful of that. Got to be considerate of that. Girls have to work. Some of them are mothers, so they got to go back and support their family. So how do we still encourage mothers to play and girls to stay in our sport? So we got to make it safe for them. So I think my encouragement is, people that are responsible for sport, or even just our cities, making sure our cities are safe so our girls can play sport. Like some people will stop, young girls will stop because it becomes unsafe anymore to travel late, or even attend, training. Yes, I think for us that's our challenge. And then you expect our girls to be performing and getting the results, but the time they need to put in is they can't do that because the environment is not
Conducive.
it's not conducive for it. But that's me. Thank you.
Oh, that is absolutely powerful. You mentioned something at the end, and I remember a statement. Overnight success takes many years, and many people, they look to you, to particularly young people today, and they see the glamour, they see the fame, they see the spotlights and all the things that comes with it, and they have no idea that it actually takes many years for you, Lua and Nelson, to reach where you are, and now you're giving back to the community. I want to ask you this question, Nelson and Lua. What are some of the values or principles inside of you that you feel that is necessary to impart to the people you're working with through the programs and the projects that you're running? Because I know that you're not just doing this just for fun, but there are some principles and values that have helped you both become the success stories that you are, that you wanted to transfer and implant into their conscience through the running of these programs. Can you share maybe one or two things that are close to your heart that you want to see in these kids that you're working with?
Lua, you want to go first?
Go for it, Lua.
Sure. Yeah. I think two that stand out for me is integrity, and I think that's important. Is if you have integrity, you won't go wrong. Especially, I think integrity matters most when there's no one watching, and I think that's the message that we keep encouraging our ladies is. It's making the right choices when no one is watching. When I'm not watching as your coach, it's making the right choices in, how much rest you have, what food you eat, the nutrition, and then the extra work that you need to do in order to be prepared for, for training the next day. And the other word is loyalty. So I think that's something that's always stuck with me since I was an athlete. I always told my teammates, if there's anyone that you can trust on the court, that's me. And I'll make sure that you can trust me because I will put in the work. I will do the hard yards. I will go 110% for you until the final whistle. That's something you can count on. You won't have, you don't have any doubts about me being loyal as your teammate, as your captain on the court. So I think those are the two that have stuck with me and that I hold close to, and I use in my coaching with the national team and also
Wow.
at club level.
Well,
Thank you.
that team is really, really blessed to have you as their coach. When you're talking about integrity, loyalty, I'm sure trust is there somewhere in your training and your mentoring. So, thank you for that, Lua. What about you, Nelson? Some of the message that you are putting through your program because you want these young people to be successful, just like you. You are a success story. I'm sure your heart is to see them write their own stories too.
Definitely, I have to, but I'd like to, stress a bit on integrity. Definitely, integrity is everything. You can't go wrong there. Integrity has to be, something that you as a coach or an employer or a director or whatever positions you hold. Always emphasize to your staff members or your employees or your athletes or, or your kids. Integrity is everything, and only a few people can master that. But as coaches, as leaders, as directors, we must always emphasize on integrity. For me, discipline. It separates any individual from being that quality to this quality. And I always emphasize, and I strongly believe that discipline, separates you from who you are to where you can get to your goals. And without discipline, there is no direction. Without discipline, there is no sense of purpose in your life. And discipline can help build that, help develop that strength in you, to help develop that the vision in you, that you can see where you're going. You can know what your purpose is, and I always believe that without discipline, there is no go forward. And the other one is never ever stop trying. That I keep on telling everyone that whatever you do in life, and whatever you're chasing, whatever goals that you're just chasing, whatever dream you're chasing, you never ever stop trying. You keep going, no matter what the hurdles you're going through or the adversities that you're facing. You keep going, you keep trying over and over. I always believe, and I always tell myself and tell the people that I engage with, that God will put you to the test. And the test is to keep going and keep trying and keep trying. If you fail at that part, try another one. You keep going because some of the best success are not done overnight. Some of the best success are done 20 years. Some of the best success are achieved in 30 years. If KFC can achieve that, I don't know, at the age of 65, I mean, who are we? So, whatever the dream that you have, if you want to become a politician, it's go for it. If you want to become or you can go back and become a bank person. Hey, that can happen. I'm sure she's already on the right path now. Wonderful career, wonderful pathway that she's on now. Yeah, but look, never ever stop trying. Continue to chase the dream. As long as you're alive, you keep chasing, you keep trying. The only time that you won't chase, or the only time you won't keep trying, is your grave. While you're alive, maintain the discipline, and keep the never ever stop trying mentality in you. Because once you have those two in you, it keeps you. You build like a fence around you, where negativity, bad influences, negative thoughts will try to get in, but you have a fence around you, and that will guide you, protect you. And as long as there is light, and the light is God, like the light at the back of me, can go all the way.
Wow. Are you sure that you're not becoming a preacher soon, Nelson?
Uh, get that many times, but I, I because of when I was really at my lowest, and when
Yeah.
I say lowest, I mean no food, no money.
Wow.
They didn't find no way of wearing another set of clothes.
Wow.
The one person that I went to, and even the what you call the dedicated, church goers, the
Yeah.
dedicated Christian, the dedicated Muslim, the dedicated whatever the religion is. The part of believing in God is something not many people can master.
That's it.
I still don't master it, but I'm pretty sure I have that faith and that belief that always tells me that, you know, there is a God. And, you know, like I said, at my lowest time, I really had no one to go to. And I just had that God in me. And then that voice at the back of my head, it keeps telling me,
wow.
go there. And then sometimes when you're at the lowest, it's really hard to, you know, stay focused and hear that voice. Like that voice at the back of your head it's not as clear as like in your hand, you know. People can hear you. You're standing in a hall and people can hear you. That voice is it only takes someone with faith to can hear that voice clearly. And when at my lowest, it was faith. And then I had to go to God, man. And then
Wow.
he directed me to people. And the first person that he directed to me was my mom.
Wow.
That, hey, look, life is all over the place, man. I can't even pay for your school fee to go back and get an education to go and, you know, earn a paper or something like that. Man, just go back and start running. And I went back and I only had 50 toys. I think what in Australia is 50 cents. That's the only I had. And I went to the track, and from there, here we are.
Wow. You know what, Nelson? I love what you said there. Integrity, discipline, never give up. And then you threw God in there and really just ties it all together. And then you tell that stories of how you reached bottom line. I mean, bottom line. And there was nowhere to go but to God. And that just makes the difference in life when things are not working, things are not going the way you want to go. He is the constant, you know, the things that rages all around us. And I just love that how you even talk about your mom. It's so good to have parents that believe and pray for us, because you know life happens to all of us, but there are those faithful mothers and grandmothers that just stand in the gap for their kids and their grandchildren no matter what we go through. I know, Lua, that you probably have experienced the same thing. This is a segue now into the importance of faith in your career and your pursuit, Lua. Tell us a little bit about that, the God factor in all of this.
I think, like I mentioned earlier, I'd lost my dad when I was quite young, so 7 years old, and I had my mom and my sister. So there was just two of us with our mom. But with because my mom has a big family, we had the support of our aunties and uncles there. And it was through my growing up, we got taken in by my late uncle, Sir Mari Kapi, and his wife, who's my mom's older sister. And it was through that time that under his guidance, under their guidance, that my faith developed. And it's through his teaching, his guidance, that stuck with me. The lessons that we learned, although he's gone, he passed on almost 12 years ago. The lessons that he's, through his guidance and the lessons that he took us through when we had our fellowship. So we had fellowship at our residence. So we, from there, so like leadership was built through a fellowship. So we were asked to read the Bible, say a prayer, some things that are so awkward, but you know, you have to do. And then I think when you become comfortable with doing that, you're comfortable with, you can go out and do anything else. So that's where my faith grew in there. I won't lie. I think growing up and you get distracted and then you get sidetracked. So there was a stage where I did, want to do my own thing, thought I could do it on my own. And then you have kids and then you realize that, okay, life is tough. And I think through the faith of my mom, she was the backbone of my sister and I, our career. She would pick us up, drop us off. I don't know how she managed, and I still, this is a question I always ask. How did she manage to support two daughters, travel, and even support us financially to achieve our dreams that we want? So I think it was God. So her belief and her uh, habit of prayer is what got us through. Yes, from those the from a young age, understanding, praying, that has helped me throughout my career, and it's still a big part. So every time we in our coaching as well, so it's important that before we start a training session, we say a prayer, and then when we end a session, we have to end it with a prayer, and that's become a culture for me as a coach, and that's something that's important for me. And I think, when you are in the sport and then you've been there for so long, you just think that you know everything, or you think you've got it all. But just sometimes, like Nelson said, there's situations that you are placed in for God to test. And I think for us was when you're in a national team and you're at this level where you've played, like probably you have 10 years or almost 10 years under your belt, and you get someone that's been asked that has no idea, but she's your teammate. So what do you do? Like, how do you bring yourself down so you are at their level, so because you need them as much as they need you, so your team can be successful. So I think it was those moments that God used those kind of moments that to teach us patience, to teach us what it means to have self-control. So yeah, I think God has been a big part. And I think for me, my faith grew when I was away in Australia. I mean, away from home, away from familiar faces, routines. You don't have your support, and you're there with two children trying to get through school, which is, and this is not like school you did in back at home, but it's like expectations are high. And how do you manage? So that I think was there that my faith, I was like, wow, he can do, he can do extra. We just limit him to what our mind can think of, but this God that we serve he can do a lot. And I think it was true. I think that final year was a struggle for myself at a personal level. And I said I couldn't have done it without him. Like every time I just said, God, you brought me here. It's not an accident. You brought me here. You gave me this opportunity for a reason. So and I believe that it's to inspire, sports people that, our masters is just like any other, thing you wanna, like career or passion that you have. It might look impossible, but if you have a God, we serve a big God. I mean, if that's something that you want to do and you are faithful, you are doing what you're supposed to do, he will see you through. He'll bring you right to the end. And I think that's been my testimony. Even though life has kicked me in the gut, hoping that I would give up and just, not pull through. He's been there all the way. So yeah, faith is my faith and my love of God. And that's been something that's been a big part of my personal life, and also in my netball career, and now as a coach as well. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Just so beautiful listening to both of you. Lua, that is such a sweet narrative, and just how you chronicle your journey with God. And as you are both talking, the thoughts that comes to mind is God is actually not for the perfect, but for the imperfect. And the Bible did say, Jesus said, I did not come for the righteous, but for the sinners. I didn't come for the healed folks, but for those who are sick. And it's those of us that struggles that appreciate faith more than those who don't really have the struggles we have. And God is close to us who are absolutely, as you said, life kicks us in the guts. And that's when we reach out to him, and he's closer to us because of those experiences in life. So, wow, I'm just absolutely amazed at the journey, the fortitude, the depth of your experience in your soul, in your faith. And yet you've got strong minds. that has enabled you to navigate your life and what you do right now through the challenges that you face in your country. We've got about 10 minutes, and I'm already enjoying this so much, so I don't want to put a time limit to it. Nelson, I need to ask you first. Yeah. Nelson, some of the challenges that you see that the youth are facing in PNG, if you could highlight some of them, and I know that your programs, together with Lua, you are addressing some of these issues, social issues, could be economic issues, political issues. It could be just things that you see that youth are going through that you are providing some sort of help and direction, but it could be something that's happening all over your country on a national level. Raw PNG that's coming at the end of this month, we actually want to talk about what we face with locally and what we can do together to address that on a national level. So maybe we start with you, Nelson, and just tell me some of the things you're seeing and how can people help? We've got people here in Australia that got stuff that maybe you can just mention those things that, and I can send a video. Some of them might be watching, some of them will watch later, and connect them with that so that someone may be touched in the hearts and say, I'm going to help Nelson. I've got some.
There's always someone out there.
Yeah, I got some gym stuff in my garage just sitting there, collecting dust. I can put that in a container and send it to Nelson. We've got all these rugby league gears that we have stashed away somewhere. No one is using it. So there's a lot of resources here in Australia. And I want you to just talk about that and how can we help, Nelson?
Look, one of the most pressing issues that I feel called to address both at the local community level in Tokar, my community, and the national scale for Papua New Guinea, revolves around empowering the forgotten sector of our society. Nationally, we have a massive population and, young people who are unemployed, lack direction. This idleness, leads directly to alcohol, drug abuse and rascal activities. So with the NEST program, I am addressing the need for, structured mentorship. And we just don't give them a ball. We give them schedule, a sense of belonging, and a reason to stay sober. We are turning street kids into disciplined athletes and not just and responsible citizens. And those are some of the present things that issues that I feel I need to address. In this forum, and another thing is with our local markets and settlements, mothers are the backbone of the family. Yet they often lack platform to maximize their earnings. So I would in one of the projects to address the need for informal sector support by integrating marketplace into Easter Sports Carnival, like the project that I'm currently working on, provide a safe, high traffic, environment for mothers to improve their sales and marketing. That's what we are trying to tackle poverty by empowering the gatekeepers at home. Yeah, those are some of the things.
Nelson, thank you so much for outlining that. And to be honest, it is what I've heard from people that I've spoken with in PNG, that these are the things that they are struggling with in their areas. You have highlighted the same. And it seems to me like it's a national problem. It's not just a local issues that you're dealing with. But it's happening all around your country. I wanted to ask the questions, and I'm going to come to you now, Lua, but I wanted to just put this question to the both of you. How is it that PNG is one of the most richest country in the world, yet one of the poorest? I just don't understand the contradiction there, because you got gold, you've got silver, you've got natural gas, you've got all these amazing things. How is it that you one of the richest, blessed by God with amazing natural resources, and yet you're one of the poorest. Because I hear the issues that you've outlined, Nelson, and I'm thinking, do we need to look outside of PNG, or do we need to just look within what we have in PNG and manage our resources well and better? If we can deal with corruption that is really sucking the finance and the resources, taking it away from the mass into the hands of a few, and bring about equal distribution of wealth all across the country. It's just some of the things I've been thinking about. Anyway, I wanted just to throw that in there when you're speaking, Nelson, because I'm one of those people that believe that we have the answer in the Pacific. We do have the answer as Pacific people. We don't really need to look outside, but if there's outside help, it's to teach us how to fish, but not to make us rely on them and depend on them. Because if something is coming our way, it's just to give us a hand up and not a hand out. But those are some of my thoughts anyway. Lua, I'll come to you. The list that Nelson outlined, is it the same thing that you see happening with the environment, the young ladies you're working with, the people that you are dealing with in your community? Love to hear from you, Lou, on that one.
Yeah, thank you, David. I think, after going out and living in Australia for 2 years, I think that's another thing. I was fortunate to bring my 2 kids purposely for them to experience another culture, and just opportunity. I think that was a big thing for my kids, and it's just from that experience. Now my kids are talking about going to university in Australia. Wanting to go and do their masters. So it's that kind of opportunity. I think at the moment our kids, our young, the bulk of our population are youth. And they there's no opportunity for a lot of them. So the ones that have the discipline and want to do sport are taking up sport, whatever sport it is, they're taking it up. But it's not everyone can do that. So what is there for the rest? What opportunities are there for them? So universities, like the colleges, they're not going to take all the youth. So what else? So we need to create the opportunities for our youth. If it's having more TVET, like practical, tradie skills for, having those schools and creating jobs for our youth. I think that's what's needed. I think for our, also for our men, it's just taking in that understanding that they are our leaders. Women were there to support, but the men are our leaders. So it's just raising young men to understand that they have to take up the leadership, their role as leaders of their families and leaders of our nation. And I think it's that group that we need to target as well. I think a lot of development come in, and they talk about gender equality, which is good. But I think as a society, especially in the Pacific as well, we've respected that. That's always been, men have a place, women have a place. And that's something that's, it's not new, it's not foreign to us. I think what's foreign is that, different ideas that have come in and trying to tell us that this is the right way. And then just, not appreciating that we also have our ways that have helped us get through this, centuries living on this earth, that they also need to respect. And I think for us is that also needs to, our culture is a big thing, and I believe that's important for us. That makes us unique for Oceania and the Pacific, and unique to the world. So it's just keeping the cultural beliefs and values that are good for us, that will that promote unity, promote prosperity for our people, and questioning, challenging some of the practices that aren't. But I think it's a collective effort. Everyone, it's all of us, our responsibility. And I think for Nelson and I, we do it in sports, in how trying to give back because of what sport has done for us. And I think if we all work together in the different areas that we're in, we can achieve. We can come up with the solutions for our own people in Papua New Guinea, in the Pacific, and then we can get us out of whatever it is that we're in. And sometimes some of this, what do you call it? Some of this, names or, stuff that's given to us, it's not us. It's our people from outside telling us that you're poor, you're this and that. But, I think for us, like, we're rich. We're rich. We're rich because we got family. We're rich because we have that support. So I think those are some important things. But yeah, some challenging things that we also need to think about. And if we do it, address them collectively, we will get the outcomes that we want. Yeah, thank you.
I love that. I love that what you said there. We are rich, and we are truly rich. And I think, as you said, we have been, call it, colonized. We have been colonized for many years, and we have been preach a doctrine of dependency on other people. It's almost like we can't do it on our own unless they say so. But we have grown up now. We've come to realize, no, God has placed us in the Pacific, in Oceania, for a reason and a purpose. We just need to look to Him, to look to us, to look at each other, and work together to determine our own destiny and future. The great examples of this is that both of you. I'm looking at leaders who have actually walked the walk, that you walk the talk, and you have charted a pathway of success in life. And that's why I wanted to talk to both of you today, because there's a lot of young people out there who are listening to you and said, look, they are role models from my own neighborhood. They're not Michael Jordan from America or somebody from Australia. Of course, we got to give it up for Muhammad Ali. He did he did some good stuff that inspired Nelson. But look, this is the product of our own people here. Lua, Nelson, and many others like you that God is raising up in your nation right now. And I want to ask you the last questions, but I just want to highlight some things that you both said. The need to create more opportunities, job opportunities. The biggest sector of your population in PNG are young people, and I believe it's around 65%. But that's the future. If we don't look after them now, we don't really have a good future in PNG. And you mentioned the need to help the mothers become more self-sustainable, support them in what they do. Also, maybe give them a hand up in some of the businesses they can run in the community. The men is another issue when it comes to leadership. We need to empower the men. And Nelson, you talk about poverty. That's why I mentioned what I mentioned earlier. We're actually not poor. I think our resources are just mismanaged. We just Go for it, Nelson.
I always remember what the great Martin Luther King said. It's not what the country can do for you; it's what you can do for the country. And I like that. With the NEST program that I'm running for 10 plus years now. Look, we've helped a lot of youth, we've helped a lot of people in the middle class, even at the people at the elite level. And we do that without any, major resources. We don't have a vehicle to go around, but we try to, go to a center where it's like a pull factor, which is the national stadium here. We call it the national sports stadium, which is the Sidronga Stadium. I run all the program there, and I start, using social media and my influence, my status to bring people in so that I can, mentor and teach and advocate whatever that need to be, said and teached and taught.
Yeah.
So, we got to do it, like the NEST program, I see a lot of it, and I'll be honest with you, if anyone does, anybody here in Papua New Guinea or elsewhere don't agree with me, that's fine, but that's what I'm saying. There are only a few, organizations who really run legitimate programs that help, youths, communities, and there are only a few. And I can tell you, I'm one of them. I am 100% one of them. And I see a lot of the funding that goes to, big organization that says that they work for the community, they do this and that. But if you go into the communities and if you come into my communities, those organizations are never seen. They're not to be there. They're never there. But the NEST program is there, And when I say, when you hear like, okay, the NEST program goes to, different communities. Okay, what I'm trying to say here is that I bring in a lot of youth from different communities. Whenever I teach the values, the ethics, how better life, empower them with the experiences, the knowledge, the accomplishments that I've got, achieved in my life, for them to go back so they can share with the communities, because you don't know how many people you will inspire, and the money, once it inspires, the body can follow, but in Papua New Guinea, it's one of the hardest things. That's why you got to be there, every day, or if it's not every day, you just got to be there all the time so that when you are there, you're a presence of hope, and that's what I want, and I'm a legitimate program on this podcast. I'd love, if there's anyone out there, come on board, support me, and let's tackle poverty together in Papua New Guinea. Let's tackle unemployment together in Papua New Guinea. Let's tackle, let's improve our health services in the country, because that's what we're lacking. You go to a general hospital and you see all these people lying on the floor waiting for a doctor to attend to them. It's like almost 2 days or 3 days or in few hours. How many hours to attend to them? And while waiting, many die. And I'm speaking facts, So those are the kind of things, Leadership is one thing in the country, but if we wait for certain things to come, it's not going to happen. We got to get out there and do it. We got to make some noise so that people will hear, people will see, and hey, look, let's go there, So, I'm urging whatever government departments or corporates or the NGOs, man, check this program out. Man, we are changing lives through our health and fitness programs. Engaging a lot of community activities through sports. We try to keep it. And like I said, you gotta have a different aura. To make people pause. And if you want that to happen, you've got to walk the talk. You've got to be the person that, hey, look, I'm not just saying it. I've done it. But you got to speak that.
Wow.
So look, I've been. Hey, look, I'm not ashamed of saying this. I've been going to, knocking on doors, sending emails to people. Hey, look, we're trying to do this, and mine is a popular one, but I just don't know why people just lie about rejecting it. But anyway, the greatest reward, God will reward me one day, and I know when I get that reward, a lot of the people will benefit from it. And I'm looking forward to a community of better living, and it's not going to be 100%, but as long as you have, one or two people living better, one or two people being inspired, achieving goals that can have an effect on 2 or 3 other people, and that matters most. You don't have to come in here and say, look, 100 people in the room will inspire. You can go back 100 people. That change.
Wow.
Do this, and like I said, I'll go back to what one of the things I've said. There's so many big organizations here that says that they do a lot of work for communities in Papua New Guinea. I think there's a lot of crap in that. Sorry for saying.
It's all right. No, you're spot on. It doesn't reach the grassroots. The support sits up there. It doesn't penetrate to the grassroots.
A lot of people would want to say that if they're afraid of saying it. So that's up to them. I respect it. But look, I gotta say it, because the people. Without people, there is no country. Without people, there is no whatever they call. So the people have to be the forefront. The people have to be your goal. The people have to be your main part of your leadership. If you don't have the people in your leadership, hey, step up.
You're not a leader.
It takes a great responsibility to be a leader, and to you're just not gonna just come out here splashing out money and call yourself a leader. No, you've got to be there. You got to have the right choice of words. You got to have the right approach. You got to have the right looks. You got to have and I'm not saying trying to be looking handsome or pretty or whatever, but the aura to inspire, to lead, so that people can say, hey, look, there is trust in that, and we go for it. But for us, like Lua said, integrity, you look at all the netball girls, women in Papua New Guinea, they definitely look up to Lua as the inspiration. You can't go wrong there. That's not a wrong thing to say, because Lua is an inspiration to A lot of the women sports out there, and I'm going to tell Lua too, just let's get out there and let's do it, And this is a great platform. I'm hoping people will hear that, because in this country, if we want to bring out champions in the grassroots, we have a lot of grassroots programs that I don't know that never exist. It's just on paper and all that stuff. But if we want to bring out champions, raw champions from the grassroots, they got to go down there and build facilities.
Wow.
Build pathways, empower the communities, empower the villages, and say, look, if we have a rich, full, resource country, this is part of the benefits that must go right down to the people, because at the end of the day, it's the people that make a country and shape a country.
I hear your heart, Nelson, and people are hearing your heart tonight. Honestly, as you're talking, I'm thinking of some things of how can we help. I'm going to message you privately about, I won't say it here, but I hear your heart, and I do want to respond that we got people here in Australia we work with. I'm going to send a message to them also, because and you talk about integrity. There are people on the ground like you and Lua and many others that the support should go to, because you're on the ground. Where you talk about other programs and support that just come in, sits on top, and it just evaporates. Nobody knows what happened. They call it the boomerang support. It goes into PNG and it comes back to wherever it came from. So it never really stayed. So Lua, you've got the last say. Any last thoughts? I've heard Nelson heart, and Nelson has summarized it perfectly tonight by him just speaking his heart. That is amazing summary. Well, you have the last words for tonight, Lua. Anything else you want to say about what we've talked about, things that you want to say to PNG, to Oceania? You got the last say of the night.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, no, just echoing what Nelson said. I think just working together, collaborating is what will have the biggest impact on people that we want to reach. I was just thinking about the different levels that we're at. I'm at the national level trying to prepare a national team. He's working on the at the ground with the grassroots. But I think there's a connection. There's a clear connection there. I think for us especially for me, I think Nelson's very vocal. And oftentimes I am very conservative, so I just keep my thoughts and keep what I think to myself. But I think with this platform, with this opportunity to be at that Raw Summit, it will give me an opportunity to talk about some of the issues, especially around the women, maternal health issues that we have. The health system, he's covered that. That's also something big that affects our women. Some of the health issues that are affecting women that are not getting a lot of prominence in the newspapers, and it often gets forgotten unless someone mentions it, and then people will take notice. But I think there needs to be more people speaking about it, and especially women, because it affects us. I think for me, I'm looking forward to the summit. If you were inspired by Nelson, and I was inspired by Nelson just listening to him, and I was already writing collab with Nelson. I can contact Nelson now. So any opportunities to work with the women that he works with, I think that's a space that I could support. Nelson is, coming in and speaking to the women that he works with in his program. And then working with other people, just being an inspiration or being a role model for younger women. I'm excited about the role. Lots of topics that will be covered by some very high-level speakers. Some that are, that are on social media that we see that are doing great work in the communities, and in some, prominent leaders of our country. So I'm excited. Yeah, and I encourage, if you haven't registered, come in and register and hear, what the speakers going to be presenting. And thank you, David, for this opportunity. And Nelson, keep at it, bro. Thank you.
And you know what, Nelson? Can you, Lua has done a fantastic job letting people know about the Raw Leaders Summit that's coming up at the end of the month. But you got this megaphone that we want to ask you to blow the trumpet tonight and challenge people. Why should they come, Nelson, to the Raw Leaders Summit, which is at the end of this month from the 30th of April to the 2nd of May? And you and Lua will be speaking there too. And that's why it's good that we have this discussion. And after this, I'm going to send you the link so you can share the link
Yeah,
on
yeah,
your
yeah.
platform so that people can watch the conversation on your own platform. But why should they come, Nelson, to this upcoming Raw Leaders Summit?
Yeah, look, it's an international leadership summit, and there'll be great people, great individuals. I've seen some names on the panel, and I'm urging people to book their place for the summit. It'll be a great event, no doubt, epic, and there'll be some explosive, higher level speakers. And I'm hoping I'll come out and be authentic in the way I speak, and I'm sure that there's some really, really great names out there that will come out and really give you goosebumps, give you an imagination of uh, high powered, development that's about to happen in the summit. And already I'm taking messages, I'm receiving messages from some of my high level friends that they will be they're looking forward to book their place, and I'm urging people to come over. I'm hoping we get some community leaders to come along, and so that they know what needs to be heard, what needs to be said. I don't know, Lua, if there's some similar type of summit that has happened during the past years, but if I stand to be corrected, but this is going to be one of the best summit that's going to come on. So everyone must come out, encouraging, urging the government, side of people, to the corporate side of people, to come on board. Book your tables, book your seat. Come and listen to some of the things that are outside of their zone, not their comfort zone. I know they're leaders and they're directors, they're managers in their own rights, but they can come and listen to some of the things that they need to be heard. Like I said, it's a high powered panel. And there'll be some exciting things that's going to be said, shared. So, urging, people from the government departments, corporates to come on board. And let's all, share our thoughts, about current issues in the countries, communities, not only like for me and not only sports, but, every areas of life, economy, healthcare, sector, unemployment, our, law and order issues that we are currently facing. And this high level panel can share something that we need to hear. And also me and Noah will say what we need to say. And, it'll be a good collaboration on that day. And definitely a lot of good things, a lot of new things will come out of that summit. And it'll definitely give us a new direction mentally, a new vision going forward. And I'm sure me and Lua especially will walk out there with a changed mindset. Meeting these high level people will definitely have a major impact in our lives, and we'll go back and keep doing what we do with all the new things that we're going to learn from the summit. And it's such a wonderful event. It's an international leadership summit, and only a few people get up to that stage, and I'm proud. I'm one of them, and I'm pretty sure Lua will be just as excited as me. So don't worry, Lua. If you don't want to talk, just pinch me on the side and you talk. Yeah, no, yeah, we're excited. And look, let's get everyone out there, and let's come and enjoy the atmosphere, and I hope we can interact well for the future of this country.
Thank you so much. I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you, Nelson Stone, for chatting with me tonight, and Laura Rikis for your availability to talk. To be honest, listening to the two of you, I just admire you both. And I know that There's more like you in your country. And if people are wondering, oh, so what kind of stuff are we going to hear at the summit? This is a foretaste of what will be I'm not kidding. This is a foretaste. We have created the summit to be interactive, conversational, and not so much people talking down to each other, but people are just sharing their stories, and then we walk away with so much. And I call it the power of synergy. When we pour all our best into the atmosphere, and we walk away with the best of everybody fused together, we'll be absolutely empowered, emboldened, ready to face challenges, and to also work together to build your country and make it the nation that you always wanted it to be. So thank you very much for those of you that joined us. My two guests tonight are just absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait to see them at the end of this month with PNG, and my team and I are committed to continue working with them and many others in PNG for Nation Building PNG. Thank you. God bless you. Share this link. And don't forget, all of you in PNG, sign up to the summit, Raw Leaders Summit PNG 2026. Good night. We'll see you in the same place, same time next week. See ya.
Good night.